Akwaaba, good afternoon. Today is Sunday, the 17th of October. Hope everyone is good. Good afternoon, Demon. Hope you're well. I'm not sure if you've done a run, one of your long ones today. If you have, how did it go? That side, like I said, I hope everyone's well. We're going to go through a 45-minute session today, and I'm going to have a bit more emphasis on stillness, on silence, and holds. That's going to be coupled with really focusing on the back, the lower back. So I'm going to be lengthening out the legs, the hammies, the piriformis, the glutes, because quite often where there's tightness in the hips and in the legs, that's where we've got a bit of tightness in the hip, in the back, in the lower back in particular. 5K virtual race from D-Man. Cool. Was that any different to, I'm sure it's different to a normal ride. You're avoiding the rain and the wind. But yeah, let's get cracking. So we're going to start in a seated position to really come into a bit of quietness before we kick off. If you're watching some playback, hope you enjoy. As always, give us any feedback that might be relevant. Just come to a comfortable seated position, whether it's cross-legged or maybe on your shins or your knees. I'm going to do a silent meditation before we start. When we find ourselves coming to stillness and slowing things down, the whole thing around meditation, it's not a case of necessarily trying to avoid noise, trying to avoid brain chatter for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it might be. But even if it's for a couple of seconds where you find that sweet spot where you're really present, then really appreciate that as an achievement. So it's close our eyes, roll the shoulders back. So we're sitting up higher now on our glutes. Place your hands in a comfortable position, maybe on the knees, in the lap. Just become aware of your natural breath. Just bring your attention to the softness in your breathing. Maybe your heart is beating super quick. Just know that. But taking a deep inhale in all the way to the belly, you start to bring a sense of calmness. You start to regulate your heartbeat, and any anxiety that you may have had slowly starts to go away. So now we're all present together. Let's just appreciate the stillness and the silence for the next 45 seconds or so. Just tuning into our breath. The raising of our ribs. The appreciation of our breath. Slowly start to find movement in the fingertips, and if your eyes are closed, start to blink open the eyes. I'm going to come into a gentle twist to start. So we're going to just massage out through the internal organs and start to find movement in our lower back in particular. So on the inhale, let's all just raise our right arm up. And on the exhale, I'm going to take our right hand to our right knee or the outside of our left knee. Whether it's on the top of the knee or just on the outside. On the inhale, let's sit up nice and tall. And on the exhale, you just use the resistance of the hand to come to the twist. Nice gentle twist, keeping the chin over the chest. Maybe place the left hand behind ourselves. On each inhale, we're lengthening, and exhale, we're finding a bit more room to come into the twist. And on the next breath, let's release out and come back to center. Let's just take the other side. So this time on the inhale, the left arm goes up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, the left hand comes down to the top of the right knee. Right hand just goes behind us. On the inhale, I'm going to sit nice and tall. On the exhale, coming into a twist. Again, chin over chest. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. And again, inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. And on the next breath, it's coming towards center. We're going to take something that we've not taken before. It's a Sufi grind. So we're keeping our hips, where they are. We're finding movement in the upper body. So it's called a Sufi grind. And feel as if it's your torso that you're really allowed to feel malleable. Feel as if you're grinding up from the hip area. So you start to move your torso first clockwise. Just use the hands on the knees, on the thighs, just to find a bit of stability and help with the exaggeration as we're grinding and working that body in that clockwise position. See if we can keep the thighs on the floor. And then let's switch and take the opposite direction. So use the shoulders, left out through the arms to find a bit more space. And then stop and come into stillness. So we find ourselves back in our neutral position. On the inhale, let's raise both arms up towards the ceiling. Take the gaze up in between both hands. And on the exhale, let's take an interlace of the hands and place it behind the back of the skull. I'm going to come into another twist. So on the inhale, we're going to turn the body, keeping the elbows in opposite directions. Turn over towards the left side. Just go towards your edge, that point where you can't go any further. And then come back towards center. And over to the right. Inhale to the right. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the left. And back to center. And to the right. And back to center. So we'll find a nice stretch also through our lats. And over to the right. Just notice again how much space we've got in our bodies to come to this twist. You might find you've got more room on one side compared to the other. One more on each side. We're going to hold on each side for 5 breaths. Let's go to the right and hold for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And back to center and over to the left for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And back to center. Let's exhale the hands back down. We're going to uncurl the toes. Release the uncurl the toes. We're going to take the legs out of a cross-legged position. Come sitting on a mat, but legs out in front of us. behind our tailbone, just shake out through the legs. I'm going to sit nice and tall through the back. On the inhale, let's raise both arms up towards the ceiling. Long in the arms, long in the torso. And on the exhale, just collapse down. Let the body fold over. Let gravity just take control. You're heavy in the head, in the torso. The arms are on the floor. You're looking down towards your legs. Curl your toes into your face. This is a stretch here, finding space in the back of the legs. Just breathe here for count of 3. Count of 2. And one more breath. Inhale in and exhale out. On the next inhale, just wind up one vertebra at a time. As we come high in the sit bones. Again, let's take both arms up towards the ceiling on the inhale. And this time on the exhale, keeping a nice long back. We're bending from the hips, keeping the neck nice and long. Try and look towards the toes rather than dropping the neck down, and take the hands either side of the shins. Or if you've got the space to grab the underside of the soles of the feet, then go for that. But in either variation, roll the shoulders back so we're long in the back. We're aiming to draw the chest towards the shins. So again, we're not dropping the head on this occasion. So it'll really help us come a bit deeper into the legs, to the hamstrings. Might want to grab hold of the toes and draw them towards the body. Start coming into the back of the calves. But again, if your hands on the sides of the calves, let that be your pose today. We're here for another 3 breaths. So on each exhale, see if we can soften a bit deeper to come more into the stretch. Another 2 breaths. One more breath. And exhale to release. Let's take our arms either side of the body and start to bring our back down towards the mat. Slowly, 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 we're engaging from the core. And bring the back of the skull towards the mat. I'm going to draw both knees in towards the chest. Into a little ball. Just start to massage out through the lower backs, taking the knees clockwise. And then anti-clockwise. Just give it small circles to really get into lower back, our sacrum. And when you're ready, we're going to come into happy baby. So we're going to start to draw the knees in towards the armpits, taking the feet out towards the ceiling. So we're holding the ceiling up with the soles of our feet, so they're parallel with the ceiling. Maybe take the hands and use the hands in the back of the hamstrings to start to draw the knees a bit closer towards the armpits. And see if we can keep our tailbone flat on the mat. So we're not riding up high. And keeping our tailbone down and just coming into bending the knees. So if you keep the hands in the back of the hamstrings, or if it's there to grab the outside of the feet, that will help you come a little bit deeper if the grip is there for you. If it is, start to press the feet into the hands. Just notice if you're holding your breath, like I was just there. If you are, just come back into your natural breath. Your inhale and your exhale. And then slowly start to release. Lengthen out through that right leg. So we're keeping that, lengthen out through that left leg, sorry. So keeping that right knee tucked in. And then coming to a early supine twist. So let's take the left hand on the outside of the right knee. Start to draw the right knee over towards the left side of the room. We're taking that right arm out towards the right side. Taking the gaze in the opposite direction, so the gaze goes to the right hand. And the right knee is pointing towards the left side of the room. Just enjoy the supine twist here. We're going to hold it for a count of 5. So holding the pose, but we're not holding our breath. So on each inhale, just imagine you're taking your breath to the area of your lower back, or any part of the body where you can feel you're coming into a stretch. When you're ready, start to bring the knee back up towards center. Take another hug in. And then switch and take opposite legs. So we're along with the right leg, and we're drawing that left knee this time in towards the body. Maybe shuffle across the mat to find a bit more room. Just give it a quick hug in, and take the right hand on the outside of the left knee and draw it over towards the right side of the room as we come to supine twist on the other side. Again, lengthen out the left arm, the left hand towards the left side of the room. Take your gaze over towards the left hand. Maybe place the right hand on the top of the left knee. Don't want to force it down, but just use it. Press the left knee maybe into the right hand for a bit of resistance to help you come into a deeper stretch. It's a really good stretch actually for lower back pain, experiencing sciatica. It's a nice one to come into and hold for probably longer than you normally would do. When you're ready, let's bring that left knee back towards center. Let's hug the knees both back in towards the chest. And then we'll start to rock and roll over the length of the spine. Inhale to rock up, hover the feet up off the mat. Exhale to rock back. Inhale to rock up. Exhale to rock back. Inhale to rock up. And let's come into a boat pose. So we're rolling the shoulders back and bringing the chest forward. And let's take a couple of variations. Maybe you want to take your shins so they're parallel to the mat. Just take a grab of the hamstrings so that aids the balance. Maybe that's our variation today. We're here for a count of 10. So maybe hold it here. Or if you want to play with your balance, see if you can take your arms out from underneath the hamstrings and either side of the legs. And let that be our play today. Here for another 7 breaths. Or maybe you want to point out through the toes. For another 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring the knees back in and rock back and forth for another 2 breaths. Inhale to rock up. And let's cross legs over. I want to come into a tabletop. So the hands are underneath the shoulders. The knees are underneath the hips. Let's just start to come into cat and cow. So on the inhale, take the tailbone up. The gaze goes up towards the ceiling, belly comes down. Exhale, find space in between the shoulder blades as you press the hands into the mat. Around in the upper back. Inhale. Just take the gaze up. The tailbone goes up towards the ceiling. Exhale. We'll draw navel to spine, find a space in between the shoulder blades. And one more. Inhale to look up. Exhale. Navel to spine. Let's come back towards center. Let's curl the toes under. Lift the knees up off the mat. And we're going to find ourselves meeting together in our downward facing dog. So we've come into the legs already a little bit.
just walk out through the toes, coming high in the toes and find this bit more space in the calves. And then start to draw the heels down towards the mat. We're pressing our hands into the floor, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. Finding length in the arms and in the back. We're energetically drawing our heels down. Take a deep inhale in from the nose. And exhale out. And again, inhale in. And exhale out. On the next inhale, let's come high on the toes. Just jump or step as we meet at the front of our mat in our ragdoll. Forward fold. Let's just take the feet so the hip distance apart. Let's come into a halfway lift. Hands on the shins. Lengthen out through the back and the back of the neck. Exhale, soften to release. And again, inhale to come up, halfway lift. Exhale, soften to release. Now, bend into the knees as much as we need to here. We're going to take our right hand and place the right hand on the outside of the left shin, the left calf. Space to bend and grab the underside of the left sole of the foot. Let's take that as a grip, and we're going to start to inhale that left hand up towards the ceiling. Again, come into a twist. Take the gaze up towards the left hand. Open the body up towards the left side of the room, or let that head be heavy, let the head be loose. As we look down towards the floor. And let's start to put away from the floor so that right arm is extended, whether it's on the underside of the foot. Or hold on to the left shin, the left calf. And on your next breath, release the grip. Let's again meet in our forward fold. Let's take the other side. So again, this time it's the left hand on the outside of the right calf. Or if you've got space, just bend into the knees as much as you need. And take the left hand diagonally across the body. Place it on the other side of the right side of the foot. And on the inhale, we're lifting that right arm up towards the ceiling this time. Again, you can take your gaze out towards the right hand. We'll look down towards the right toes. Drawing that our bodies away from the floor. So extending out through that left arm. And on the next breath, release the grip. Just fold over. Let's come to a halfway lift again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, soften to release. On the inhale, let's come all the way up towards the ceiling. Taking the hands, the arms up towards the sky. And on the exhale, let's take the prayer into the center of our chest. On the inhale, let's go high with the prayer. The prayer goes high towards the ceiling. On exhale, let's bend from the hips as we come all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend into the knees. Let's place the hands down at the front of the mat. Let's lift up for that left leg. I'm going to hover that left foot all the way back so it's parallel to the floor. I'm going to play with our balance here for count of 3, a count of 2, and 1. I'm going to drop down to the left toes. Come onto the left knee, uncurl the left toes. Let's get ready for our runner's lunge, our low lunge. Just feel grounded through the right side of the foot. Let's start to lift the torso up off that right thigh. And then we're going to lift the arms up towards the ceiling. We're long in the torso. So draw the navel to the spine. Take an inhale to lengthen up. Exhale. We can soften and bend into that right knee. Find a bit of space for our left hip flexor. Let's cartwheel the hands back down towards the mat. Let's come into a half splits. So I'm going to shuffle that right foot back forward, sorry. We're going to walk the hands back and come up onto that right heel. Curling our right toe towards our face. Again, on the inhale, we're going to lengthen up. So start to feel the stretch coming to the right hamstring. And exhale, we're going to start to bring our chest
a bit closer towards the mat, long in the neck. Maybe walk the hands a bit further forward. You can just listen to your body here and really tune in and feel where you're coming into the stretch. It's the right hamstring. And on the exhale, start to bend into that right knee again. As we come forward, I'm going to take both hands inside of that right knee, swing that leg back as we once again meet in our tabletop. Let's curl the toes under, press our hands into the mat, and let's meet all together in our downward facing dog. Breathe in through the nose. And exhale to release. On the inhale, come high on the toes, jump a step forwards, and meet again at the front of the mat. Inhale to come to a halfway lift. Exhale, soften to release. Inhale, bend into knees, go all out towards the ceiling. The hands go high. On the exhale, hands into prayer at the center of the chest. Inhale, prayer goes up towards the ceiling once more. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend from the hips, just come all the way down. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Left out through the arms. Find space in the back. Exhale, bend into the knees. Let's place our hands once again at the front of the mat. Bend into the knees as much as we need. We're going to play with the balance. This time we're lifting up through that right leg. And taking the right foot all the way towards the back of the room. We're curling our toes in towards the face. The right leg is parallel to the floor. We're here for another 3. Another 2. One more breath. Let's drop onto those right knees. Bring the right knees. Drop onto the right toes. Bring the right knee towards the mat. And curl the right toes. And again, once you feel grounded through the left sole of the foot, just start to lift the torso up off that left thigh. On the inhale, drawing the arms up towards the ceiling. We're long in the torso. Take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, soften as we bend a bit deeper into that left knee. Come a bit more into that right hip flexor. On the next breath, we're going to bring the hands down towards the front of the mat. Maybe shuffle the left foot forward for a bit more space. Start to walk the hands back as we come up high on our left heel. Just come into the half splits on our left side. So again, be aware, be conscious of the left hamstring. And have a play. Just start to walk the hands forward maybe. Keep the back nice and long. And again, we're energetically drawing our chest down towards the mat. Don't forget to curl the left toes in towards the face to come a bit deeper. Maybe engage through the left quad. That helps us relax into the left hamstring. Bend into the knee. As we motion the hands forward, take both hands on the inside of the left foot. Let's swing that left foot back. So once again, we're meeting our tabletop. When we're ready, let's curl both toes under. Press our hands into the mat as we lift up and come into our downward facing dog. Rolling the shoulders away from the ears and energetically drawing our heels down towards the mats. Together, let's take a deep breath in and exhale out. And again, inhale in and exhale out. Let's start to maneuver the body forward. So rolling onto the toes as you come into our Kumbhakasana, our high plank. So shoulders up over the wrists. Let's rock forwards onto the toes. Let's bend into the elbows. Just come down for a count of 3, 2, 1. Just come all the way down onto the belly. One curling the toes here. Let's take our hands, our forearms, the palms of our hands. So it's flat on the mat. So we're going to come into a Sphinx pose. So start to
energetically draw our chest through the arms. The elbows out underneath the shoulder blades. Just finding some space in the lower back. So rather than really hanging out here, really focus on drawing the chest through, rolling the shoulders back. Through your chest, maybe your lower belly. Just energetically lifting up off the mat. And let's bring ourselves back down to the floor, bringing our chin to the floor. Let's take our arms out to the side this time. So our arms are in cactus arms, they're at a right angle. Again, the soles, the palms of the hands and the forearms are flat on the mat. On the inhale, let's peel our arms, our chest, our chin away from the floor to come to locust. Try and keep the neck nice and long, so take your gaze down towards the floor. On the exhale, let's come back down. This time let's come into the legs. So maybe it's the left leg, which lifts up. We're pointing our toes towards the back of the room. Exhale, bring the left leg back down. Let's go to the right leg. Inhale to bring the right leg up. Pointing the toes towards the back of the room, engage with the quad. Bring the right leg back down. Let's go for both legs. So on the inhale, bring both feet off the floor. Our knees, maybe the thighs are lifted. And bring ourselves back down towards the mats. And let's combine all of those. You can keep the arms in cactus. We can take another variation by interlacing the hands behind the lower back. And on inhale, lifting up the feet, pointing both feet towards the back of the room. You can keep the gaze down towards the floor so the neck is nice and long. We're extending out through the arms. Chest is lifted for a count of 3, 2, 1. And slowly release the body down towards the floor. The legs come down. Let's take the right cheek towards the floor. You see, just bring a gentle stretch to the neck here. Looking over towards the left side of the room. And let's turn and face the other side. Bring the left cheek down. Did I say right cheek to begin? I hope I did. Take to the right side first, now on the left side. Let's come back towards center to bring the chin back towards the floor. We're taking our hands, place them underneath the shoulder blades. We're going to press the hands into the floor, just draw the heels together, and tucking our elbows into our ribs as we come into a gentle cobra. Exhale to bring the chest back down. On the next inhale, press the hands into the floor. Let's start to lift the hips up. And then going to walk the hands back and bring our bums back to our heels for Balasana, our child's pose. So bringing our foreheads towards the mat. It may or may not reach. Let's breathe in together and exhale out. Let's come up into a child's pose and then turn and bring the feet once again towards the front of the mat. So the legs are long. We're sitting high on our tailbone. We're going to come into a seated forward fold again. See if we can find a bit more room, given that we've warmed up the body adequately now. So on the inhale, once again, we're going to lift the arms up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, again, the back is nice and long, bend it from the hips. See if you've got a bit more room to maneuver the hands, maybe 1 centimeter further forward on the shins, or maybe your feet are within easy grasp. If it's not quite there, or if it's not there, if it never gets there, it's all good. Let's just go to that point where we're testing we're coming a bit deeper into the stretch. You know, I always like to say when you go into your edge. That's something that's commonly said at the studio. I used to practice at the yoga edge.
When you're ready, start to come back up towards center. We're going to bend that right knee. We're going to stretch along our glutes, our piriformis, lift up the right foot and place it up and over the left thigh. Keep your left leg long. I'm going to take that right elbow and use the crease of take the right elbow and get my right and left mixed up. Taking the left elbow and wrapping it around the front of the right knee. If that isn't quite there for us, just use the left hand and take a hold of the right knee. We're taking our right hand behind ourselves. And again, we're going to come into the twist. So we're really hugging that left knee in towards the chest. So we can start to feel stretch down that big muscle down our right side of our leg, stretching that through the piriformis, the glutes. And again, when we've got tightness in that area of the body, once again, come into the stretch. It will just aid any lower back pain we might be experiencing. So on each inhale, we're sitting up a bit taller. And on the exhale, we'll come to a twist, keeping that right knee tucked in. And then come back towards center and let's switch out the legs. So this time we're bending that into that left knee, taking the left foot up and over the right thigh. Once again, use the crease of the right elbow this time, around the front of the left knee, or feel free to use the right hand. Take that left hand behind ourselves again. We're finding that stretch down in our quad for our piriformis. Let's place the left hand down on the mat. On the inhale, sitting nice and tall. Exhale comes to stretch. So really bring that left knee in towards the chest to find yourselves come a bit deeper into that large muscle just there. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. And release. Shake out through both legs. Let's swing the legs towards the back of the mat. And meet once again in our tabletop. Let's curl the toes under, press our feet into the mat and lift up into our down facing dog. Let's take a deep inhale in. And exhale out to soften. And come into half pigeon. So let's start on the right side. So we're lifting that right leg up. So it's parallel with the floor. And then start to draw the knee through the body, taking the right knee towards the back of the right wrist. We'll drop on us that right shin and come to half pigeon. So that right shin is almost certainly a diagonal. Start to come up onto those left toes. Just walk the left leg back. So just use the motion of coming from the left toes just to walk that leg towards the back of the room. Once you're ready, uncurl the toes. We can stay up high on the hands. We're going to feel as if you're coming into the right hip flexor here. You want to sit down and find again the stretch coming through the piriformis on the right side. You want to feel the stretch coming through the right glute perhaps. So you can either step high on the hands or feel free to walk the hands forward, using the arms as a pillow. As you rest your head down at the front of the mat, I'm going to hold it here for a good minute or so. So find that point of interesting comfort, I'll call it. What we don't want to do is coming into the right knee where there's pain. If you want to, you can always use a block or a tall book underneath the right buttock, the right butt cheek. And just hang out here in silence. And the longer we're here for, the more we'll find a release through the hips and the upper body, where we
said to store a lot of emotion and tension. So let ourselves just surrender here and embrace any sort of vulnerabilities and anything that might come up. Don't forget to breathe. If you find yourself fidgeting, it may be because of the pose. Feel free to always move if there's discomfort. Or sometimes we fidget where we just can't stay still, which is sometimes a reflection of our lives when we're always busy and always moving. The intention today is to really find stillness and embrace stillness, embrace being bored. Boredom is where we can delve into our creativity. Or stillness is where we can just quieten the mind and come into that space of silence and meditation. And already press the hands into the mat so we come back up high if you came down. Let's take the other side. So we're going to swing the right leg back. And once again, we're going to meet in our downward facing dog. Feel free to walk out through both legs. There might be a sensation of pins and needles. And then when you're ready, let's take the left side. So on the inhale, lifting that left leg up so it's parallel to the floor. Take a deep inhale in. And on the exhale, we're drawing our left knee forward this time. So left knee goes towards the left wrist. Left shin comes down. Okay, maybe it's pointing 45 degree diagonal. Maybe it's parallel with the front of the mat. Either way, let's come up high on the right toes and just start to walk that right leg back to help us come a bit deeper into the pose. Once you're ready, uncurl the toes so the back foot is flat on the mat. Again, we're aiming to find a stretch into maybe you can feel it in the left hip flexor, maybe in the piriformis, the glutes, the outside of the hip. Just feel free to sit into that pose. Again, we're here for another minute or so. So you can stay up high on the hands or walk the body forward and come down. We're going to find, again, silence or stillness just for another 50 seconds or so. Really breathe into that area where you can feel the stretch. If you feel you've got tension in the shoulders, if you're gripping, soften and release throughout the body. On the next breath, let's press up onto the hands. We want to come into camel just to finish up. So we're bringing both shins onto the mat. Bringing our bum down towards our heels. If you've got a towel, feel free to put a towel underneath the knees for a bit of cushioning, or you can fold up the mats and place the knees on top of the mat, just to avoid the knees rubbing against the floor. When you're ready, let's come up off the bum. So our knees, our thighs, our heels are together. Just place the left hand above the right buttock and likewise the right hand. Just draw the elbows together so the arms aren't flailing out to the side. Of drawing the elbows together. But as if you've got a straight wall in front of the body here. So on the inhale, particular gaze up towards the ceiling.
drawing our elbows towards each other, and then we start to come into the bend. So using our hands to help us come up and over, and on it, so just come back towards center for one breath. Take a deep inhale in, and exhale out. There we go again. In out to draw the elbows together. The chest goes up towards the ceiling. Take your gaze up, maybe keep the chin to the chest or let the head hang loose. Maybe this is your variation. If you want to take your hands to the heels, take your left hand down and the right hand. Again, imagine as if there's a wall in front of you. So the bend is you're going up and over. You're not just dropping back into your lower back. You come to a nice back bend here. Whichever variation you're in, on the inhale, bring the chest back up. I'm going to come into a child's pose to finish up. So we're taking the knees apart. So you've got space, more space to bring the body down. So the knees apart, the feet are together. Let's just start to walk the hands forward. This is our resting pose to finish the session. So bring the forehead down. If you're in Ujjayi, take one more deep inhale in. And all of us just to sigh it out. So we're back in our natural breath. And relax. When you're ready, you can either stay in Vinyasa, stay in child's pose, or let's come up. I'm going to turn and face the camera and come into a seated position. Or maybe again you want to come into the knees. Take the legs into cross-legged. So we went a bit slower today. Came into a few more holds. Just finish up by placing the legs. Hands, legs, right, left, is all confused today. Let's place the hands in the lap. Just close the eyes, set up tall, roll the shoulders back. Take a deep inhale in together. And gently sigh it out. Thank you for practicing and wishing everyone an amazing week ahead. If you're watching it on playback, I hope you've had a good day or going to have a good day. And looking forward to catching you all later, another time. See you next week. All done. So thank you. Thank you. Is it Rennie? I hope I pronounced that correctly. And Walk and Talk with Queen P and D-Man. I hope you enjoyed. As always, feel free to give me a shout on any feedback. Also on Instagram. If you enjoyed it, hit a like or subscribe. Rennie, I think it's the first time maybe I've seen you practice with us. So welcome. But yeah, otherwise, have a great week. And I'll see you on the other side. I'll see you in the future. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.